Hello everyone, Josh Gary from JoshG.tv here again with this week's episode of In Review. This time we're going to look at a novel, Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. The Lost Symbol was from Dan Brown, was released in September of 2009, and is the third installment of his series featuring Robert Langdon, which if you have seen Angels and Demons or the Da Vinci Code, which are the other two novels, their film adaptations was played by Tom Hanks. Now, The Lost Symbol takes place in Washington, D.C., and Robert Langdon has been invited by a professional colleague of his to give a lecture at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And then when he gets there, he finds out that things aren't exactly as they seem. The plot is very much like the Da Vinci Code, where you have a lot of these puzzles and you delve into facts and history and science and religious history and religious symbolism and things of that nature. This time, instead of the French police, like in Da Vinci Code, in The Lost Symbol, he's actually being chased by the CIA. And throughout his adventures, he delves into Freemasonry and Masonic rituals and Masonic symbols and such that are just ingrained into Washington, D.C. architecture and its history. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin have a lot of Freemason ties. And so it delves into a lot of that. The whole book takes place over the span of about 12 hours. So that kind of gives you an idea. It's a real frantic pace. And if you've read Angels and Demons or the Da Vinci Code, you know Dan Brown's writing style. He has short chapters and he jumps back and forth from the different plot lines that are going on in the novel at the same time. Now what that does is his writing style keeps you engaged in the story. You get to the end of one chapter and you want to turn to the next one. Like the Da Vinci Code and like Angels and Demons, Dan Brown likes to make you think. He isn't anti-religious and he's not religious. His views don't push you in one way or the other. He just simply gives you facts, and you have to base what you want to believe and what you want to feel from that. A lot of people were very upset over the Da Vinci Code and the fact that the storyline, I don't really want to spoil it to anybody that hasn't read it, but it got a lot of people up in arms. And there's a similar vein in this novel as well. He deals with noetic science, which, if you don't know what that is, it deals with thought process and telepathy and things of that nature. And it also hints on the fact that maybe our founding fathers weren't exactly what you thought they were, that there might have been a little bit of underhanded, some conspiracy stuff going on. So I do want to warn you that there is some of that. All in all, Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol, the third installment in his series with Robert Langdon, is a very good book. It is very intriguing, and it is one of those that you're going to be done with it. You're just going to keep reading. You're going to... I just started. You know, it's not one that you feel that you're having to do a job. It's a delightful read. It is very engaging, very entertaining, and very educational. It teaches you a lot of history, a lot of science and such. So, in the end, I'm going to give it a 4.5 G. I can't give it a full 5 because I didn't think it was as good as the Da Vinci Code, but it was very good. And there's also, if you do pick it up, there's a twist about halfway to 3/4 of the way through the book. You're going to have your jaw hanging. And the way Dan Brown writes, you're not going to find out what happens until like 3 or 4 chapters later. That's what I love about his books. This has been Josh Gary from JoshG.tv with this week's in review of Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol.